Welcome to another episode of the Terri and Frank Show, where we are discussing a different human factor every week. And in these videos, if you've been watching them, we have a surprise inside. This episode, as always, is brought to you by Terri and Frank. And Terri, why don't you kick off, introduce yourself for those who are new to our program?
Welcome, welcome. We're excited to have you. My name is Terri Mays, and I'm a certified culture engineer with focus on understanding the human side of business.
And I'm Frank Wander. I'm the founder of People Productive. We help companies use the time, talent, and energy of the people that work for them in the most effective way possible so that the people and company can thrive together. So we have an interesting video. You know, last week, I hope you watched that one. It was on decision fatigue. So we're focused a little bit on the human mind now, and we have another episode this week focused on the human mind again, and what that means to you in the workplace. What should you be aware of? There's an awful lot of information out there. So anyway, we have an experiment that's actually taking place at a school. The kids are broken into two groups. They run a memory test with the groups, Group A and Group B. They put these items on a table. Then the kids have to look at them, sit down, and go write down all the items. Then they break the kids into doing two different things. The one group goes outside to run around, have some fun. The other group stays inside to have some fun. And then they do the memory test again. And we're going to show you both pieces and what the results of this are and what the takeaways are. So Tara, any thoughts before we flip over?
Yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting outcome. People may be surprised and they may not be by the results of these two different groups. One group is the insiders and the other group is the outsiders. So
exactly. So why don't you think right now, are the insiders or outsiders going to perform better on that memory test? So let's take a look at the setup. You'll get familiar with the students, what they're doing. So I'm going to share my screen quickly. Okay. Okay, here we are.
My team's called the Insiders, and my team's called the Outsiders. And this is how the experiment will work. 20 items are going to be laid out on a table. Our teams will look at them for 1 minute and then write down as many as they can remember. After about 3 minutes, time is up and Mrs. Johnson collects our papers. Okay, let's see if exercise helps our memory. My team, the Outsiders, will head outside for some physical activity. We spend the next half hour outside playing soccer, climbing the playground, and running around. And my team, the Insiders, are staying in the classroom for some quiet activities, but instead of racing around outside, we are quietly playing board games and drawing.
Okay, so we have a little setup here, and what are the different things that could happen here, Tara?
Right. You would think that the students are going outside, they're going to be tired when they come back and exhausted, they've worn themselves out on the playground. They're going to be sleepy. You would think that they're a little tired from all that running around. You would expect the ones that are inside would be a little bit fresher, that they're using the tools, they're exercising their brains in a different way.
And they're relaxing.
Yeah, they're relaxing, they're calm, doing very creative things. So that always initiates different part of the brain when you're being creative. So all of those activities, they're exercising their brain, but they're doing it in different ways.
Yeah, so this is really interesting. This is the cognitive side of work. And we're seeing two different forms of play and how they have an impact ultimately on the performance of the students and their memory. So let's take a look at what actually happened. And then we can talk about what this means to you in the workplace. So I'm going to share again. Come over here.
So, Mr. Johnston, do we have the results?
We do, and it looks like exercising our memory is the clear winner.
Mr. Johnston worked out that the team that exercised between the memory tests increased their average recall by 1.5, but the team inside actually decreased their recall by 1. This is because exercise increases the blood flow to our brain, and that gives it more oxygen and nutrients to use as brain food.
Okay, so there we have it. Now, this is interesting because we have both teams are impacted by what happened.
Right.
It's a very simple experiment, but we see that one's gone up while the other has gone down. And the going down really surprised me, to be honest with you.
Yeah, that is very surprising. Initially, I would have expected that the ones that were inside would have retained as much as they had before. Maybe not necessarily have increased, but at least they would have remained the same because they
Mhm.
weren't expending a whole bunch of energy running around on the playground. It seemed to me like running around on the playground would just make the kids so exhausted that they couldn't remember anything. So
Yeah,
if anybody would have lost memory, it would have been them. So it's the exact opposite of what you would think.
yeah. So here we have it is the blood flow bringing all those nutrients, removing all the waste, right? Energizing the people. Their mitochondria are producing more energy. They come in, they're kind of energized. And because they had fun, they're a little relaxed. And
Yeah,
they actually perform better than the group that's been relaxing inside.
right,
It's
right.
fascinating.
I think that is very fascinating because in the workplace, there's not a whole lot of focus on exercise outside. There's more focus on exercising your brain by doing different creative activities
Mhm.
inside, but nobody really focuses on taking those little breaks to go outside. And it really does make a difference.
Yeah, to go walk around. I mean, if you're
Right.
working from home, to take a break, take a 15-minute walk, come back, you're going to be refreshed, you're going to be energized. We used to do deskercise at the office, sometimes do a little stretching. I remember
Yeah.
this one person used to always like pick up the stapler and, fake they were doing, lifting weights. But there are things you can do. And to weave exercise into your workday, simple things. You don't have to be running around playing a game like the kids were, but doing simple things to get the blood flowing, get it moving. You're going to be sharper. If you weave some breaks in, coupled with that during the day to recharge the glucose stores in your brain, now you've got more blood flow. You're going to have more energy in the brain. These things matter. Can you actually manage the cognitive performance of your staff? Can you build different rhythms and things into the organization? Or just encourage people to take some breaks, do some exercise. It's very easy when people are home to not take breaks. Honestly, they get caught from Zoom to Zoom to Zoom. They're exhausted. And it's very, very ineffective, as we know. And then when they get off Zoom and they immediately dig into doing some work, we know that's going to further impair their performance. So giving people a time to recharge. It's not just about decision fatigue. It's really about making just quality choices, writing more clearly, thinking more clearly, and cognitively performing at a higher level, which is what this is all
Yeah.
about.
Yeah. And the other thing I think that's very relevant these days, more and more we find people doing these jobs where you sit all day. And so your physical body can't handle that stress. The body wasn't designed to sit, it was designed to move. And so when
Yes,
you sit all day, that
hugely
causes
important.
pain in your lower back and your hips. You've got neck problems because we're all looking down at our
Yeah.
phones all day long. And so, you find that strain that's in your eyes because you've been looking at the computer screen. So there are all kinds of things that you can do. It's just little tips and reminders, Apple Watches, and not that I'm advertising Apple Watches, but
Yeah.
you've got this ability that it'll remind you to stand. It'll remind you to
Yep.
take breathing
I use
breaks.
that.
Yeah, I really enjoy that. I
I
take the
do
breaks
too.
and actually sit there and just breathe because I've noticed that there are times when you're in meetings or if you're doing something, you may stop breathing, like hold your breath while you're doing something and not realize that that's what you're doing. And
Mhm.
especially with exercise, I'm not the biggest person that exercises. Clearly, I'm not. But, when I
Yeah.
do exercise, I have to remind myself to breathe. I do have to think about it and consciously put in effort into breathing
Mhm.
deeply and not just holding my breath to get through the exercise. So, that whole exercising your brain in a physical way is very, very true and very helpful.
It is, deep breathing exercise matters, standing up matters, moving matters. All of these things do matter and they help your performance. So weave these types of things into your workday. If you're a leader, encourage your people to actually take breaks and do things that are going to help their cognitive performance. Because at the end of the day, it's really about the quality of what gets done.
Right. And it also improves your overall quality of life.
It
So if
does.
people are feeling better, they're exercising, they're taking care of their bodies, there will be much lower incidence of people calling out sick and having to stay out on medical leave or anything like that because they're
Mhm.
actually able to take care of their bodies.
Yeah, and I know I used to go to the gym during lunch, when I was working in Manhattan, and it didn't go every day, but the days I would go, come back, I'd be really just recharged, high energy, and that vibe is contagious, right? Because mood is contagious, and my mood was better. I felt better. So that had a real impact. I
Yes,
knew from
absolutely.
experience.
It does have a positive impact on your outlook to have those endorphins pumping through your body.
Yes.
You get those feel good feelings after you work out and you feel like you've accomplished something. All of that is very important because it
Really
fuels
matters.
to you have the energy and the stamina to do the things that you need to do at work.
That's right. So as a leader, think about the cognitive performance of your people. How are you running your organization? What could you do to improve the way the organization performs? Understand the human factors, apply them in an intelligent way where you work. Let people, weave stuff into their workday that works for them because everybody's a little bit different. But your job is to encourage them to do this, to make sure they have knowledge and understanding. You can share some of these videos with them so they do get it, because this stuff really does matter. This is the human side of business, without a doubt.
It does. These things matter. They're things that really have been pushed to the side and put on the back burner because people have thought for years that they didn't matter and people were treated more like equipment than actual human infrastructure and resources. So that focus really does need to come back to that person being a human being and not just some robot or other computer or any other resource that's a
Yeah.
physical asset. You really do need to value that person and understand what they bring to the table and then help them put them in an environment that helps them become the best that they can be.
Yeah. And listen, we'd like to thank you. We've been getting some very positive feedback and comments from people and been reaching out to us saying they really appreciate this video series. Don't forget to smack that bell and subscribe. We have a new video every week. There's always a surprise inside. You're going to learn stuff. We don't make them long. A couple of them we gabbed away a little bit too much there, but
Yes.
but for the most part, we try to keep these short and to the point. We cover a topic, share something interesting that you can really think about, digest, and try to apply. Because this is all about a better you, right? We're here so that you can become a better you. The more you learn, the more you know, the more you try these things out, the better you're going to perform. And this is not just about work, this is about your life. The human factors influence everything. It's your kids, what you're doing if you have kids, how you're raising them, things you can share with them and teach them. So this has broad applicability. It is more focused on the workplace, but in reality, it's life.
That's right. That is exactly right. These human factors are human factors. So whether you're a
Yeah.
human in the workplace or a human at home or a human and wherever you are, you can apply these relationship factors and build your relationships much better and create environments that are much more high performing environments where people thrive, whether it's in a home or in the workplace.
That's right. Be a better human and share these videos and get other people to be better humans, because that's really what matters. Any
Yes.
any closing thoughts, Tara?
I'd just like to thank everybody for joining us. We really appreciate the comments. Keep them coming.
Yeah, keep them coming. And you can always reach out to us directly. We're on LinkedIn. You can find us on, People Productive website, whatever. And we appreciate the feedback and encouragement. So thank you. You have a
Yes,
great
thank
one.
you.
Take care.
Bye-bye.